Who does God call to be a modern-day Levite, a modern-day worship leader, musician, singer? I grew up in the church. My father, as I mentioned before, was a pastor, and my mom, she was a singer, but a full-time homemaker. She taught us and my siblings to sing together from the time we were pretty small. Every Sunday morning and evening, we gathered for church, where we sang old and not so old hymns and songs from a really thick songbook. The musicians were always a piano player and an organ player. In Sunday school, we sang children's songs. And as I got older, I grew downright bored with the music at church. Often it was carried out in very uncreative, unmusical ways. And the overall impression church music left with me was largely uninspiring. With time, more modern styles and elements of music made their way into our church. This was much more motivational and moving. Because I could sing and play the piano, I began to be given more and more opportunities to perform and lead music worship. It was my dream to record an album of my own songs. But at the age of 21, I was able to do just that. During this time, I was very involved in our church as a music worship musician. One really exciting and formational experience for me was leading music worship at a large conference of 45,000 people. The song repertoire was made up of worship songs from around the world and from every continent. A few years later, my wife Sherry and our baby daughter Lindsay and I moved to Germany to begin a music ministry there with a mission organization called the Jans Team. Through concerts, evangelistic events, conferences, and our home church in Germany, I found myself more and more functioning in a music worship leader role, and I continue to function in this role till today. There's a lot of different kinds of people that are called to be modern-day Levites. Every worship leader's story is unique, and so the question, who does God call to lead worship, is one that gets a huge variety of answers. I know music worship leaders who are mothers, businessmen, farmers' wives, students, full-time worship pastors, missionaries, evangelists, career musicians, professors, and teenagers. These are all people who started out with an interest and a talent in music. Some earn their income through music in the church or marketplace, but most are folks with normal everyday occupations. The common denominator that ties them all together is their love for Jesus, His Word, the church, and an interest and talent in music. Some are singers who don't play an instrument, and others both sing and play. Some are also songwriters. All tell of their interest and love for music, and that at a certain point in their walk of faith, were either given an opportunity or felt motivated to become involved in music worship in their home church. Some even tell of strongly sensing God calling them to lead in music worship. Many of them gained music worship leading experience serving in alternative settings like Bible camps or Sunday school, youth groups or Bible studies. Some learned to sing in the church choir or in a school musical production. Recently, a shy 19-year-old young man, a drummer from the church where I was the worship pastor for 6 years, felt motivated to text me and ask if we could meet. We got together to talk about his desire to serve God with his talent. A while after this first conversation, he was baptized, and we continued to talk about him playing drums in the church services. With time, he was introduced into the church's worship music ministry. I remember the first time he played. There was an opening in the service schedule, and I called and asked if he would like to drum on 2 particular weekends, and he said yes, he would very much like to play. And I sent him the songs, and the whole band got together to rehearse. Sunday morning came, and he requested prayer at our prayer time because he was feeling quite nervous. He went on to tell us that not only was this the first time he was playing drums in the church, but that this was the first time, literally, that he was playing in front of an audience. He had learned the drums entirely in the privacy of his bedroom at home, and the Holy Spirit had directed him to reach out to me to become involved in serving in the music worship ministry of the church. There are certain characteristics that I believe are important for someone who wants to be a music worship leader, singer, or musician in the church. These are markers that aren't exclusive to those wishing to be involved in music worship ministries, but are earmarks for anyone wanting to participate in serving in the work of the church, be they singers, musicians, or technicians. The person is a follower of Christ. They show love to others in their life. And as a representative of Jesus Christ and the worship ministry of the church, are an example to others in conduct, speech, and attitude. They're faithful. They attend schedules of events and meetings. They're consistently on time. They are a man and woman of their word and follow through with their commitments. They're team players, laying down their will for the good of the church family, avoiding expressing opinions which divide and not pushing their own personal agendas or having personal conflicts with others. They respect authority and are supportive of their leader, being submissive to his or her decisions. They recognize that their role is that of a servant, recognizing the privilege it is to serve the Lord, doing everything as unto him, and that no task is too menial. They are also aware that they serve the body by not being a distraction and that all decisions made should be for the good of the church. The characteristic of being a good steward is also very important. Tithing to the church is a wonderful spiritual discipline and is a reflection of trust and surrender to Christ. They also recognize that to teach and sing of faith, but to be faithless, is hypocrisy. This person uses their God-given time, talent, and treasure for Christ and his kingdom.